I never thought life would break me. My husband Daniel was perfect, or so I believed for years. Then one night, my world shattered. I found messages, not meant for me. Love notes, secret plans, hidden photos, unknown calls. He had another family, a secret life, 6 years long. I was living a lie every day. Our kids, our house, our love story fake. I cried in silence, heartbroken, soul cracked. I questioned everything. How could he do this to me? I had to know. I followed him. He was happy there, with another woman, another daughter, another life. I felt lost, betrayed, and strangely jealous. But I needed answers. I couldn't breathe properly. My chest felt frozen. The iPad still buzzed. More messages kept coming. Love you, sweetheart. Always. See you this weekend. Don't forget her flowers. She misses you badly. He was loving them. He was building memories. He was living fully. But not with me. I stared in silence. Tears blurred my vision. Was I just background? Was I the lie? I needed to know. I needed the truth. I needed to see. Who was this woman? Her name was Marissa. I found her profile. Pretty brunette, warm smile. Lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Photos filled her page. Dan was in several. Holding a small girl. Smiling, truly smiling wide. I felt physically ill. This wasn't just infidelity. This was something deeper. Another home, another life. And worse than betrayal, he looked happy there. Happier than with me. I couldn't deny it. That Friday I followed. Dan packed for Atlanta trip. But I knew better. He was going there. I stayed far back. He took the highway. North toward Milwaukee, fast. 2 hours of silence. He pulled into the neighborhood. Quiet streets, trimmed lawns. Children played with bikes. It looked peaceful. Ordinary. He parked near the house. White porch, sunflowers outside. Marissa opened the door. He kissed her gently. Then a voice shouted, "Daddy," from the hallway. Lily ran into arms. He spun her around. My heart broke fully. The man I loved. He smiled like sunshine. Brighter than I had seen. Not forced. Not tired. Not like with me. He looked alive again. He looked complete there. I sat in a car. Hands shaking, mouth dry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to disappear. But mostly I wondered, was he pretending here? Or pretending with me? Which life was real? Hours passed in blur. He never saw me. I drove back home. Empty, quiet, surreal silence. Max greeted me weakly. Even he seemed distant. The house felt haunted. Haunted by invisible truth. Dan came home on Sunday. Trip was long, he said. I nodded, barely breathing. He kissed my head. That kiss felt foreign. That man felt unfamiliar. His eyes practiced lies. His hands someone else's. I didn't confront him. Not that first week. I watched instead quietly, closely. A stranger in disguise. He still smiled sometimes. But not like before. Not like with her. Not like with them. Was I his obligation? Was I the shadow? Was I just filler? Convenience? Habit? Guilt, maybe? I started writing everything. Times, dates, receipts, texts. I wasn't crazy anymore. I had proof now. And yet, I waited. For courage, for clarity. For the moment right. The moment to shatter. But truth already burned. Silently it was spreading. Through every quiet moment. Through every spoken word. I was being erased. Bit by bit, gone. And he didn't notice. Didn't even seem guilty. It happened on Wednesday. Rain tapped the windows. Dinner sat untouched, cold. Max lay near silently. Dan walked in late. Tie loose, hair damp. He kissed me quickly. Then checked his phone. I stood behind him. My voice came soft. Was Milwaukee worth it? He froze, phone midair. Turned slowly, eyes narrow. What do you mean? I took a deep breath. Her name is Marissa. His face drained instantly pale. I kept going forward. And Lily, I added. Our daughter, right, Dan? He sat down hard. Chair creaked under weight. Silence filled the room. Thunder rolled beyond windows. He didn't answer immediately. Just stared at hands. How long, I asked. He looked up, guilty. 6 years, he whispered. 6 years. Of lies. Of double life. Why? I asked sharply. His lips trembled slightly. I never meant to, he said, voice hollow. She wasn't a plan. It just happened, Claire. I laughed, bitter sound. That's convenient, I spat. He looked like a stranger. Tired. Old. Wounded even. But I felt nothing. On same. Only nummy, raw silence. Was she a fling? No, he said quickly. It became more serious. And me? I asked. What was I then? He looked up again, eyes full of regret. You were my home. My fists clenched tight. You had 2 homes. He shook his head. No, 2 lives, 1 heart. It sounded poetic, rehearsed. Like he believed it. Lily knows ? I asked. He nodded, shamefully quiet. She thinks I travel. Does Marissa know me? Yes, he said slowly. She found out later. And she's okay? I snapped. With you lying daily? She didn't ask me to leave you, Claire. Oh, how generous, I hissed. So modern of her. He buried his face. I love my daughter. His voice cracked slightly. I loved you once. I replied like thunder. Maybe still do. Broken. I stood up slowly. Do you love me? He didn't say anything. That silence was louder than any cruel word. That night I packed. Just a small suitcase. A few clothes, photos. I left him sleeping. Or pretending to sleep. I didn't really care. I needed to breathe. Alone. Far. Away. I drove until sunrise. Into the soft light. Fields rolled past the window. New day, new air. I stayed with cousin. Didn't tell her much. Only that I left. Stopped after days. I didn't reply once. Marissa messaged me eventually. From some unknown number. I am sorry, she wrote. Oh, truly. I believed her somewhat. But it didn't matter. Damage was already done. Years lost. Years stolen. I filed for divorce. 3 weeks after leaving. Dan didn't fight it. Didn't even cry much. He asked for visits. With Max, not me. I gave him weekends. The dog seemed confused. I didn't explain anything. How do you explain 2 lives to a dog? How do you explain being second choice always? I returned one weekend. Not to see Dan. Not to forgive him. But I needed truth. I needed to see. Not imagine, not guess. I needed the reality. I parked down street. Same quiet Milwaukee block. Same porch, same flowers. Same child's chalk drawings. Marissa stepped outside, laughing. Holding Lily by hand. Dan followed behind slowly. Carrying a picnic basket. They walked to park. I followed far behind. Not like a stalker. More like a ghost. She looked beautiful, calm. Jeans, red cotton blouse. Lily skipped between them. Dan held her hand. They looked picture-perfect happy. But then I watched. Watched more than smiles. Watched closely, deeply, silently. Dan checked his phone. Twice during their lunch. He laughed too little. He stared into distance. Marissa looked at him. Her smile slightly strained. She reached for her hand. He didn't hold back. Lily told a joke. Marissa laughed half-heartedly. Dan forced a chuckle. Eyes drifting once again. And then I saw. The shift. The tension. The little invisible distance. Between their quiet moments. I thought I would cry. But I almost smiled. Not out of cruelty. Out of strange understanding. He wasn't happy there. Not fully. Not truly. Not like I feared. He was acting again. Performing love, performing joy. In another lovely cage. Marissa packed sandwiches slowly. Dan checked the phone again. No spark in eyes. Just tired routine exhaustion. I whispered to Wind. He will do it again. Not to her, maybe. But to himself, definitely. That man lives double. Not just lives, souls, too. Half here, half nowhere. Never fully in anything. I returned to Oak Park. My old house is empty. The keys still fit. Max barked, then wagged. I walked through rooms. Quiet, dust, old echoes. Photos still on walls. Smiling people I miss. I touched our wedding picture. I looked into eyes. His eyes felt dishonest. Mine looked heartbreakingly young. I didn't cry there. I sat on stairs, drank tea from thermos, and let silence speak. This house saw love, also saw silent deaths. Of passion, trust, identity. Days passed like fog. I watched old movies. Read poetry I loved. Cooked for just one. Sometimes Dan messaged, "Hope you're okay, Claire." I never answered once. One night, Marissa called. I hesitated, then answered. Her voice shook slightly. I shouldn't be calling, but I need closure. I stayed silent, waiting. She exhaled, then said, "He is distant these days. Even Lily feels it. I thought he would change. He promised he would." I said nothing back. She kept on talking. "I see him fade. Like you probably did. We both believe stories. I am not blaming you. We're both part victims." I finally spoke softly. We married the same man. Silence hung, heavy truth. Then, "I'm leaving him too." I nodded through tears. "Good," I whispered gently. Not out of revenge, but because she deserved. Better than second place. Better than fading smiles. We ended the call quietly. Not friends. Not enemies. Just women with scars. Weeks turned into months. Spring painted everything anew. Trees bloomed, air warmed. Max chased butterflies again. I started writing a memoir. Not to publish, just release. Every chapter, a truth. Every sentence, a freedom. I wrote of lies. Of love and loss. Of silence and voices. Of two lives lived. Not as mine split too. Into wife, ghost, woman. And finally, survivor whole again. I stopped checking messages. I stopped counting days. Stopped wondering if he would change, return, explain anything. There was nothing left. No hope, no us. Only fragments of memory and the shadowed in-between. I thought about silence. How long I lived inside it, quietly enduring the weight of pretending. For years I smiled. I cooked, I waited. I softened my voice. I apologized for nothing. Even when I knew. I felt the distance. Felt the absent gaze. Felt love evaporate slowly. But I kept going. Because that's what wives were taught to do. Hold the house together. Hold the heart together. Hold him together always. But no one taught me how to hold myself. When everything else fell. I walked every morning. Same park, same trees. But I noticed things. The light through branches. The way birds paused. The sound of gravel beneath my slow steps. I breathed deeper again. My chest didn't ache when I woke up. I stopped wearing rings. Not out of anger, but because they lied. They didn't mean truth. Truth wasn't in vows. It was in healing. In choosing myself daily. I learned to be quiet without being small. Alone without being lonely. Strong without being angry. This wasn't survival anymore. This was rebirth, fully. I went back teaching. The students asked kindly, "Where have you been?" The students asked kindly, "Where have you been, miss?" I smiled and said, "Learning how to live." They didn't need details. Just honesty in eyes. And light in voice. And presence in soul. Daniel eventually moved far. Marissa raised Lily solo. Our paths never crossed again. And I'm truly grateful. Because peace isn't silence. It's truth lived loud. Even when it hurts. Even when it ends. I'm still here. Not as wife only. Not as victim solely. But as whole woman. Who saw the truth? Who survived the fracture? Who chose herself first? And finally was free.